In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to properly reformat resumes so that they match the standards that we have here at CMI and all of our candidates have the same resume. So you'll either get the resume directly from your candidate or it might be sent to you from another recruiter for you to reformat. Either way, in Outlook, when you receive the resume, it shows up as an attachment. And so the first thing that I do is I just click on it and drag it to a folder where I keep all the resumes that I'm supposed to format. The benefit of having a place for them is that it keeps them from getting lost on your desktop or in your downloads. But you can choose to organize it on your computer however you like. You'll notice that we have two different formats. So we have a doc format, which is what we're looking for, and then this person sent their resume as a PDF. So if you receive a resume as a PDF, the first thing that you need to do is convert it to a Word document. You should have this software on your computer. This is Adobe Acrobat DC. If you don't, then that's something to get in touch with that's somebody to get in touch with somebody at the main CMI office and they can set you up with an authorization for that. So I've opened up the resume and we're going to click Export PDF. It's defaulted to Microsoft Word and we're going to hit Export again. I'm putting it in my Resumes to Format folder. And then it automatically opens the file. You should have received in an email a template for the default format of the CMI resume. So the first thing that I want to show you how to do is how to set that up as an actual template. So you should have received this file and it probably says something up at the top called like CMI resume template, and it has a name. Oops, that should be in bold, and then a space for the body text. The most important thing about this is the document margins and the header. So instead of opening up this file and changing the name and copying it over and over again for each resume, you can very simply just set it up as a template in Microsoft Word. So in order to do that, you're going to click on File and then do Save As. And down here at the bottom where it says Save As Type, you're going to click on Word Document and change that to Word Template.dtox. It's going to automatically take you to a new folder. In this case, it did not take me to the right folder. So if it did not take you to the right folder, then on the left-hand side you should see your Microsoft Word application. You can just select templates. If you're on a Mac, most likely it will take you to the correct folder. And then just call this something intuitive. So I call it CMI resume. You can see I already have the file saved, and so then you would just hit save. Then when you go to open the template, you're just going to click File and then New, and instead of clicking Blank Document, click on My Templates, and it should show you your personal templates, and the CMI Resume template is the first option, so I'm going to select that. Okay, so now we're set up to start. So as you can see, this resume has a lot of customized formatting, and we want to get rid of all of that. So my suggestion for an item like this, you'll see, actually let me make this full screen. Right, you'll notice if I click on it, there's some aspect of it that's anchored to the page, and the name seems to be an object in the heading. So for that part, I'm just going to go ahead and retype the name. And that should always be bold and size 16 at the top of the page. If you use the template, then you don't have to customize the name every single time because it'll default to the right size. Then we're going to go ahead and select the professional summary. If she didn't have this core competencies section in here, I would just select all of the content, but this is going to create some formatting issues because it's in 2 columns. So I'm going to go ahead and ignore that for the second and start by just grabbing the professional summary. I'm going to copy that, select the body text over here in my template, and if you right click, you'll have several paste options in Word. So the first one, oops, let's see if I can hover. Yeah, so the first one, paste it using the theme of the template. This is not correct, so we don't want that. The second one keeps the original formatting from the source file, which is her original resume, and we don't want that. And then sometimes they have a merge option, which can be useful if somebody's resume is close to being correct, but not quite. This looks pretty close, so we might use that. And then there is the text only. You'll notice in the text only option, the font size is changed, and the font itself is changed from Arial to Times New Roman. So I'm going to go ahead and just select the text only for this example. We don't keep the words professional summary, so that can go, and then we can keep the summary that they have up at the top, and it just sits right there. After that, we're going to have our first section, which you can call professional experience. You can call it work experience, either of those two terms. You'll see other terms in their resume, but I tend to go with professional experience just because I think it looks nice. And now we're going to come over to the original resume and we're going to start grabbing her positions. So the first one is this account executive position, and that continues all the way down through her education. So I'm just going to select the positions and copy it, and then oops. So you'll notice when I went to paste it, by keeping the text only, because right now in our template we have bold and underline turned on, it's going to really mess up the formatting. So don't forget to deselect those, and then you can think about how you want to paste your text. So for this option, if I do a merge formatting, you'll see that the bullets are completely messed up. So unfortunately, even though the way that she has it formatted is close to what CMIs look like, we're going to have to just do text only and do it all manually. Get rid of some extra space there. Now that we have her positions in, I'm just going to go back down to the bottom and grab the education field. And again, this gets the same treatment as the top, so it's going to be bold and underlined. If you want to change it from all caps to simply having the first letter capitalized, look up here in your font options, and there is a change case button. If you click on that, you can click capitalize each word. Sometimes that doesn't work and you'll click capitalize each word and it won't do anything. In that case, just select another option like lowercase or toggle case, and then when you select capitalize each word, it will work. Lastly, we're going to pull this core competencies section to the bottom if we can select it. So again, we'll notice that as I'm trying to select it, her resume has some strange formatting that's forcing me to take other text. So I'm going to go in and look and see what the issue is. Oh, so it looks like she doesn't have her column break in the right place. So let's see if we do it this way. All right, so we're going to take it in two parts. Oops. And again, for this part, we're just going to paste the text. Okay, so now we have all of the content in the resume and we just need to format it correctly. So the way that we set it up here is the first part of the job information is the company. We don't put the title first. So you're going to have the company name and then a comma. The location, not all people put the location in, but if they have the location, it goes here. And then the date. The date gets written out, so she has 02. We're going to change that to February 2014. And instead of current, we say present. Now what we want to do is we want to start reformatting the content. So in order to get the date onto the other side, this is how most people would move it over. You put several tabs, you put several spaces. That's a really inefficient way of doing it. What we're going to do is we are going to come up to the top, and you'll see this top left, and you'll see this little L shape. If you click on that twice, you now have it facing the opposite direction. This is how you set a right tab. we're going to put one tab in and we're going to leave it until we get to the end of the document. It's not yet in the right place because we haven't set in the ruler where we want our tab to be, but we're set up to go in a minute. Next comes the position title, which is italicized. And then this is something to look out for. So if we look back at her original resume, she has this, we need to figure out where this key account management client services came from. Oh, I see. So this got copied from the bullet points up here. So we just need to go ahead and delete that. Sometimes you'll find that when people have a lot of formatting on their resume, they wind up with text hidden behind other things, and it gets lost, and so you'll wind up with things in the resume that don't make sense. So just always check back with their resume and make sure that the text stays exactly the same, and you're not accidentally putting in text that might have been behind an image, or if she had an old header that she didn't delete and it was behind here, just look out for those types of things. Okay, so we're going to select this and we're going to put the bullets in. The default settings should be fine, but just to confirm, you want it to be 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess spaces over, indents over, and then the first line indent is 2 over. And then we're going to repeat the same process for the rest of the resume. So the name gets put below, the date gets put over here. We've already set up our right tab, so this can just get one tab. We're going to change this to December, change this to February. This does not need to be capitalized, so we're just going to redo that. This gets italicized, and then we're going to put the bullets in. Now, her resume doesn't have this, but I want to talk about it because it's important. So let's say, for example, that she was a sales consultant and an account executive at the same company. So for the sake of the example, let's pretend that this position doesn't exist. In that case, oftentimes what the person will do, I'm going to put this out of the way, oftentimes what the person will do is they will have the same information here twice. We don't want it that way. We want to show the continuity in the position. So what we would do is we would want to take the date that she was at the first position, which in this case, we're going to make something up. So let's say December 2012 through February of 2014. You would remove the title, the repeated title, and then up here next to account executive, you're going to put the dates that she was an account executive, which would be February 2014 to present. This master date up here then gets changed to the oldest position. So this is going to become December 2012. This way, the hiring manager, as they're reading through it, can see that she worked at Sterling Pathology from 2012 onward, and then she can see, or he can see, that she had these two positions as a sales consultant and the account executive, as well as how long she was at each position. In this case, though, these are two separate jobs, so I'm just going to back it up and set it up there. In this case, it looks like the title got attached to the position, so we're going to pull that down and change it here. And again, oops, we want to have commas in between. And the only dash being between the date. That becomes bold. This becomes italicized. Oops. And now we're going to bullet that. I'm going to continue on and finish the remaining positions, and then we'll talk about the education and the core competencies section. So now we've reformatted the remaining positions so that they all have the company title in bold with a date and a tab in between. We have the job title in italics, and we have the description or the impact of the person in that role in bullets. The last thing to format is the education section. The education section goes directly below the job positions, and not everybody will have their resume set up like this. So sometimes people will have skills and training or other volunteer experience underneath. We always put the education section after their job position, so simply place that there and everything else goes below. The education gets formatted just like a job description, so we're going to have the school name in bold and the location next to it. And if they had a date of graduation, that would go and get tabbed over with the dates. That goes in bold. Oops. And then they have Bachelor's of Science, and this can just simply be changed to in. Sounds a little bit more professional. All right, and the education is done. If they had a year, like I said, that would go here, and that would get a tab in between. Lastly, she has these core competencies, and this is where you have to do a bit of evaluation. So originally she had these at the top, but oftentimes I find people simply put these in their resume because they're the way that they formatted it, they need these to take up space. So oftentimes they don't say anything meaningful. They say things like problem solving skills or proficiency in Microsoft Word. Those are the types of things that all employees are expected to have. Everybody is expected to show up on time. Everybody is expected to sit through meetings. Everybody knows how to use Microsoft Word. So having those things just kind of seems like fluff. Some of those things, though, are valuable. So that's where you need to take a second and actually read through what she says. So in this case, she has new business development, consultative solution selling, effective sales presentation, customer needs assessment, industry product research, key account management, client service and retention, persuasive negotiator, senior executive interaction, and CRM. So of these things, Salesforce and ACT are actual technological skills that somebody can have that would be valuable. The rest of these things are not really valuable. So customer needs assessment is just customer service. Everybody in the sales job is supposed to have that. Same thing with presentation and solution selling. We also don't really want this to bleed on to the next page because it's not going to look great if you just have kind of fluff on the final page of the resume when it could have easily been condensed into one page. So of these things, we're going to keep a select one. So new business development is fine. Senior executive interaction simply means that this person interacted regularly with an executive, but that's something that can easily be discerned or talked about in one of the positions or in an interview, so we don't need to keep that. Same thing with persuasive negotiator. In sales roles, the success of the person in closing the deal, that's what determines whether or not they're a persuasive negotiator, not if they say it in their resume. Key account management, that can stay. Everybody's supposed to do research. So we'll keep these three things at the bottom. And again, the title gets formatted in the same way as all the other titles, bold and underlined. And the bullets go, because there's no position, I just place the bullets underneath. So now we need to do the last few checks. So one thing that I always check for is double spaces throughout the document. That's an easy thing that we can just simply remove. If you go to the Find and Replace, it's available either over here on the Editing or under the, I think it might be under Review, something like that. Well, regardless, on most versions of Word, it's available over here. I'm just going to find and hit 2 spaces and say replace them all with 1 space. In this case, she doesn't have any, which is great. Many resumes do, and that can wind up messing up your formatting, so it's best to just get rid of them. Next, we're going to select everything in the document except for the header. And we're going to go ahead up to the ruler and set our tab because we need to get these dates all the way over to the right. If you can't see your ruler, go to View and make sure that the ruler box is checked. Now we're just going to click over here and you get a little L shape. You'll notice that when I did that, they moved. Simply drag that L all the way to the edge of the page, and as you scroll down, you can see that all of the dates are as far right justified as possible. No need to do multiple tabs, no need for lots of spaces, just click and drag. If you need to adjust that again, or if there's other tabs that are messing up the page, simply click, or not twice, there we go. Simply click and you'll see this tab stop position. You can set it to 7.5, make sure that right is selected, and click set. Ensure that no other tab is in the way simply by dragging it out, and you'll have your date set up. Then we just want to take a quick glance through the resume and make sure that we didn't make any mistakes. So each position just needs to be looked at. Notice we forgot to put a comma there, so that gets changed. The dates are in the correct spot. Each position has a title. None of the companies are duplicate. So this resume is good to go. At this point, we're going to save it. And once again, I have a folder that I keep all these things in for ease, but you can put it on your desktop or wherever you like. We're going to name the file the person's first name, their last name, and then the tag CMI afterwards. It should be saved as in a docx format. And this can close. At this point, you would then upload the file to Bullhorn, which we're going to discuss that in another tutorial, but also make sure once you've reformatted it and it is in Bullhorn that you email the person if it was sent to you by another recruiter and let them know it's in the database. Obviously, if it was a candidate, you don't need to inform them that you've reformatted it.